Alright, second try at this video, but it's the first time I went over time, so gotta watch the time this time. So anyway, maybe I'll post the other video to the Soapbox website, post a link whenever I do that, but it doesn't really matter. And we'll just compare the two videos, right? This is going to be the same argument made. So anyway, this response video to Remy, to a video he made to Anti-Bullshitman, so I'd just say to Anti-Bullshitman not to watch this video if you plan on responding to Remy, because I'd rather hear your response unpolluted by my stuff. So anyway, Remy makes this argument. He doesn't like the analogy, the metaphor of heroin addiction to describe humanity's pursuit of consumption and reproduction by the natural order. You know, he's not understanding what it's a metaphor for. It's a metaphor for two things. The first is that just like heroin addicts who don't understand, who don't appreciate the reality of their circumstance, basically deny it and participate in something that's just obviously stupid, human beings do the same thing. Their desire compels them. They can't see past it. I'm going to argue basically that you know, desire, addiction, these are just words we use, and we could interchange them. We could call most desire an addiction, because it is. We are addicted. It's something that happens to us. We don't create it. It creates us. And the more important point I want to make is that I use the analogy not to describe every nuance of human activity, because there's obviously people who desire to do very good things. They desire to help other people. It makes them feel good to do that. They get off on it, and so that's a very constructive addiction. So yeah, it wouldn't fit into a it would be maligned by calling it a heroin-style addiction. But most human activity is not revolve around being productive in the real world. It has to do with satisfying their own addictions. And the broader point is that yes, humanity itself is acting like a heroin addict. It accepts all kinds of liabilities to have what it wants. It you know, we accept world wars, we accept Holocaust, we accept all kinds of inequity, all kinds of abuse of other people. We accept a very sloppy, ugly world to get our fix, and that's just the way it is. That's the truth of our reality. So to bring it back to Remy's little metaphor, where he says life is really about cooking a good dinner and having a nice walk. Well, let's see how much the dinner cost. How many dollars were spent on it? Was it extravagant? How many people could you have fed with the money you spent on your fancy dinner? How many animals suffered to create your dinner? How much suffering was endured and that you found acceptable to make your dinner? Then let's talk about your neighborhood walk and what it costs to have a nice neighborhood. Is we have to segregate certain people into little hovels and slums to keep your neighborhood nice, so you can go for a walk and not get shot like other people. There's a price to our life. The other point I wanted to make about your little walk is that your walk isn't a very good description of humans after their desire, because most of that has to do with relaxing. It has to do with letting go of desire, letting go of the stress and the want and the passion and the bullshit, and just being able to appreciate the simplicity of having some air to breathe and some peace and quiet, or some friendly people to wave to, or some other simple pleasure. And that's not what we're talking about, at least not what I'm talking about when I use the heroin addict metaphor. I'm talking about most of humanity's pursuit, their greed, their gluttony, the sloppiness with which we live. So I think it's just kind of cheap to take your little isolated moment of purity and say that's human life on Earth, because it's not human life on Earth. It's not the crass, cheap, conniving bullshit that is our human society. So that's a bullshit argument. All right, I don't know how far, you know, I can save a lot of time, because, you know, this time I know what I'm saying, right? What is important to get to. So anyway, the other point is that Remy doesn't like this connection. He says there's You have to go through some mental gymnastics or something to add A plus B, which is evolution. B would be that we're controlled by a dumb molecule. C, that life is probably futile and stupid. He says to connect those, you have to do some special cheating with the logic. To me, that's bullshit, obvious bullshit. We can see that everything about us is in some way built out of that evolutionary struggle. Even what Remy called love and the rest of that bullshit is all based on the fact that it was more advantageous for animals to build these relationships, that their children were better off being maturated, given the advantage of education and special knowledge to get through their lives more productively, and that requires us to have these emotions. We have to place carrots on the little kid's head, or else we'll eat the kid, just like some animals do. We'll do something really stupid. So we have to be emotionally constructed to give a damn and to care. But we see what we do with that. We see how, because it is just a contrivance of nature, that it's pretty sloppy, because it allows us to create us's and them's. It allows us to diminish the value of somebody else's children because they don't have our genetic profile, when they're obviously the same thing. But we'll ignore the sameness because one of them is a possession and one of them isn't. Come on, there's lots of horrible psychology that's a consequence of our origins. It's there's a very significant connection between these A's and B's and C's, and they're easy to draw, not complex. And you just are rejecting it, period. You're the one looking for some way out of that truth, because you want your life to mean something and be special, and it's not. It's just it's a redundant replaying of a dumb script over and over and over again. And you don't want it to be that, because you want to think you're accomplishing something, because that's part of your addiction. That's part of the heroin you demand. That's what you demand you're getting from your heroin, is some sense that you're accomplishing something, so you can feel good about yourself, so you can feel proud that you're accomplishing. Well, you're not. You're just chasing an illusion. And I said that in the part 2. There's a part 3, so you should have waited for that probably. But anyway, uploading now. That went over time too, so I uploaded it once and I had to upload it again. Damn fucking YouTube. Just sick of this little bullshit. Go 4 seconds over in a video and you gotta redo it. Editing is just more trouble than remaking this video. That's the problem. Unless I go for the higher quality, and then I gotta edit, and then it's gotta render, and well, I'm not going through all that crap. But anyway, it's just irritating. That's more work to fix the video than there is to remake it. Anyway, so I don't know if there's much else to say. So yeah, you just missed the point of the metaphor altogether. It's a metaphor for the fact that heroin addicts don't know they're living stupidly, and human beings, depending on your perception, you're not going to realize you're doing stupid things. The greedy don't know how stupid they're being. The cheaters don't know how stupid they're being. There's so much damage being done because human beings are addicted to things, and that's just the way it is. Most desire is addiction. It can be called that. It's just a semantics game. Oh, I don't want to call it the word that sounds bad, the one associated with negative things. I'll somehow call it, with the old friendly pink word instead of the dark brown word. But it's just bullshit. The nature of it is the same, and I'm saying from a more enlightened perspective, we can appear just as stupid in our normal pursuits as the stupid heroin addict, especially when we can see obvious stupidity, like, oh, that child is different than that child. No, sorry. That's bullshit. That's bullshit emotion, and that's what Remy wants people to be controlled by. And it's nonsense. We have to be controlled by something better than that, and that's our intelligence. So anyway, I won't even bother getting you to the D, E, and F, but the other part of the equation too, because you really should be able to get to C. That we've got a problem based on our origins, and it has made us addicts. It has made us destructive in how we pursue what we're after, the cheese. And to say it one more time, the cheese is an illusion. We're chasing a dream. We will not be satisfied. not permanently, not sustainably. We will spend most of our time chasing, and that's how the game works, and that's how the heroin addict lives. And so the metaphor is valid, and it's only if you're going to be a nitpicking jerk that it's not. And you're not making a valid argument, and certainly an argument like I had a good dinner and a nice walk, therefore I'm not a heroin addict, therefore the human race is just fine, is bullshit. You gotta do better than that. So I threw in a couple of gratuitous insults because apparently that's how we play the game. So you're a stupid head, whatever. So yeah, 10 minutes, that's enough.